it's possible, just possible, that our next president may be hosting Saturday Night Live. Well, at least tomorrow night. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance. Here's your host, Randall Terry.
You're fired. You know, here's the crazy truth that we have to accept. Entertainment, Stephen Colbert, Saturday Night Live, it's part of the equation, and for the foreseeable future, it's here to stay. I don't know if you realize this, but since Stephen Colbert took over David Letterman's chair, he has been interviewing one after another of the presidential candidates. I've seen several of the interviews, and they've actually been pretty good. Donald Trump is going to host Saturday Night Live tomorrow night. And we've got friends coming in from Nashville, and we are going to watch that episode. I promise you, we're going to watch it from beginning to end. And this morning, I don't know if it's ran or not. There was a fight going on, but Carly Fiorina was supposed to be on The View with those crazy women because they've been mocking her and tormenting her. I don't know. And she said, I'm coming on. And say it to my face. Say the things you're saying to me. They're literally mocking her. Like junior high school girls. At least Carly had the guts to stand up and say, you know what, I'll come on, and then let's see if you see these things to my face. But back to Donald Trump. This culture that we live in is 1,000,000 miles wide and ankle deep. The intelligence level of our republic is at arguably an all-time low. I don't know if you remember the name de Tocqueville. He was a French writer who came to America. And he wrote a fairly famous book. The title escapes me right now. But in the book, if my memory is correct, he said that plowboys are reading Plutarch's Lives, or Lives of Famous Romans by Plutarch. Now, most of us today don't know who Plutarch was. Most Americans don't even know what de Tocqueville was talking about. That's how bad things have gotten. Plowboys could read King James English in the King James Bible, could read this, at the time, very famous book on the famous men of Rome. We've got college-age kids, college graduates that cannot read the King James English. They cannot read Plutarch's Lives. They can't reason, they can't think. And so it hit me the other day while I was watching Donald Trump. My wife and I were talking. As you may know, I'm in television, and unfortunately sometimes I speak with words that are perhaps obtuse. There you go, there I did one. I use obtuse words, obscure words. And my wife chides me every once in a while and says, let's speak at a high school level. And somebody else who's in the television industry said to me, no, you don't get it. People are writing for TV. Most TV episodes are being written for a 5th grade reading level. 5th grade. And another person in the TV industry that I read about said that there's a discussion right now whether they should reduce the script writing for TV from 5th grade to 2nd grade. To a 2nd grade reading level. So, I mean, these are kids, right? These kids are going to school. They graduate from high school knowing how to use a condom. They just can't read the label, okay? But I thought of Donald Trump. We're watching Donald Trump. And have you ever seen Trump on TV? Of course you have. And he goes like this, we're going to make America great again. It's going to be so great. I love the Mexicans. The Mexicans love me. The Mexicans are great people. He has these short little clips, and he uses these words that are so small and so often void of content. That was not a nicely asked question. I didn't like the way they asked the question. And I'm watching him and I'm thinking, okay, this man is a multi-billionaire. He's worth $10 billion. He is not stupid. He graduated maybe the head of his class from a financial school. I mean, this is a business school. He's a smart man. He's so smart that he's choosing to use words that are really small and endear him to the culture that we live in today. And that's why, in my estimation, I'm putting a bet on it, he is going to be phenomenal on Saturday Night Live, and it may actually bump his numbers. Because so many people in this culture don't give a rat's behind about content. They care about cool. Is it cool? That's what I want to know. Was he funny? Am I watching rerun clips on YouTube? If so, run the Donald Trump clips against the Hillary Clinton clips. Hillary's not funny. Nothing that Hillary Clinton could do would be funny unless she was in British comedy and she fell into a manhole. Then, the lovers of British humor would say, that was funny. Can we see that again in slow motion? All right, I got to take a break. Donald Trump is going to be hosting Saturday Night Live tomorrow night, and I hope you tune in. Thanks to friends like you, we have state-of-the-art cameras and state-of-the-art teleprompters and state-of-the-art gear here in the studio. We have one big need, however. We have not yet been able to upgrade our computers. The computers that we use for a television broadcast or to create a documentary are not like the kind that you can just go buy at Best Buy. They are expensive because it takes so much horsepower to create TV series and or documentaries. So I'm asking you, if you want to see this show grow and you want to see us finish the What Would Muhammad Do series, help us get these computers. 3 computers that we need right now are going to be just shy of $20,000. That's the kind of horsepower that we need. Go to the GoFundMe page you see right there. Watch the pilot for What Would Muhammad Do? And if you like the show, give us a gift. I'd like to read to you a passage. You've heard it probably in jokes. You might have heard it preached from in comments. Yeah, become all things to all men. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. I want to read to you something because as much as I'm teasing about Donald Trump being on SNL, if I was running for president and had an actual chance of winning and they invited me to host the show, I would be there so fast. I would do so great. I wouldn't do anything that was obviously immoral, okay? But I would do the show. I would let people fun on me. I would fun on them because, well, I'll tell you why. Here, ready? For though I am free from all men, I have made myself a slave to all that I might win the more. To the Jews I became as a Jew in order to win Jews. To those under the law I became as one under the law, though not being myself under the law, that I might win those under the law. To those outside the law I became as one outside the law, not being without law toward God, but under the law of Christ, that I might win those outside the law. Do you see what he's saying here? In case it doesn't make sense to you all. He says, if I'm hanging out with Jews who are really strict about the law, then I'll wash the way they wash. I won't eat pork. And if I'm with those that are not under the law of Moses, then I'm not going to do the Jewish ceremonial washings. I'll eat pork. They're having sausage for dinner, Paul. Sounds great to me. Why? Continue on. To the weak I became weak, that I might win the weak. I have become all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. I do it all for the sake of the gospel, that I may share in its blessings. We are in a dark time in America, and we could become really, really righteous Pharisees. I mean it. We could be the most awesome Pharisees, And we wouldn't even have to be like the Amish. You know what I mean? The Amish are like frozen in time. They had this set of clothing, and then there was like, okay, now this is what is spiritual, and don't take any innovations. Don't follow the culture of the English, the outsiders. We wouldn't have to be that severe. We could just wear decent clothes, have our wives and our daughters wear skirts that are below the knee, let's say, not have really immodest blouse lines and sleeve lines, and then we could cluck at people and talk about how wicked this culture is. And it is a wicked culture. It is. We could be great Pharisees because we've got a great plate set for us. But there is the time to wear jeans. There is the time to be on Saturday Night Live. There is the time to become all things to all men so that I could win some. And Jesus, well, somebody pointed this out. It was great. I can't remember his name. If it comes to me, I'll tell you. But he said, look, think about Jesus. It was the whores and the tax gatherers that wanted to hang out with him and invited him to their parties. Man, that hit me hard. That hit me so hard. Because Jesus was perfect. He was flawlessly holy. Okay? There was never any idea whatsoever that Jesus was going to do anything that was wrong, okay, with any human being on earth. And yet something about him was so attractive. The love that he emulated, the love that just resonated out from him, made him so attractive that people who were deeply, deeply in treachery against their own people, the tax gatherers, people who were deeply involved in an immoral trade and knew that they were sinners, they just wanted him to be around. They wanted him to come to their parties. And so the person said, when's the last time that really evil people, really bad people, asked you to come to one of their parties? Not to do something evil, but just to be there. So ponder that. And as we look and watch and see what happens with Donald Trump on SNL, he might blow it. He might say, yeah, I'll do all kinds of immoral stuff. I don't know. But he's going to be on. And I know that if I had the chance to be on, I would do it. And we're taking some of our cues from St. Paul the Apostle, who said, I become all things to all men so that I could win some. Knowing that he was under the law of Christ, not going to do something immoral. Yeah, I'm going to snort coke so I can try and win the coke addict over. No. He's going to live right, but he's going to hang out with those people and try and win them to the Lord. I'll be right back. Christians must be involved in government, period. If Christians weren't involved in government, we would not have a United States of America. And there have been brilliant Christian minds over the centuries, such as John Locke, who is called the philosopher of American liberty. He was quoted by Clarence Thomas in his recent dissent on the homosexual marriage decision. If we don't understand John Locke, we don't understand the founding of America. I want to send you this book and my book, The Sword, subtitled The Blessing of Righteous Government and The Overthrow of Tyrants. I want to send you these two books for a gift of whatever you can afford. Pay the $8 shipping and handling, which does not cover our costs, and then give a gift of whatever size you want, and we'll send you these books. If you cannot afford anything but the $8, can't even afford that, write us a note, and we'll send them to you for free. I want you to have these books so that you can be better equipped to fight in the political arena. Come on, order them today. I don't know how to pronounce the former priest's name, although actually he still is a priest. Krzysztof Karasma. Krzysztof Karasma. He's a Polish priest. And a month before the bishops started their meeting in Rome, which is going on over the family and whether or not the church is going to alter any of its practices regarding homosexual behavior. By the way, the church does not change its doctrine. For those of you who do not understand Roman Catholic doctrine, the church does not change its doctrine. There will never be a woman priest. There will never be a gay priest. Because the church, an openly gay priest, because the church says, no, this is not happening. This is not the way it's done. This is not the way it was done from the beginning with our Lord Jesus Christ. And it's never going to be that way. Because ethics don't evolve. God doesn't change. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So anyway, this young Polish priest decides he's going to come out of the closet and say, I'm a gay Catholic priest. And he works in the Vatican, okay? He's not just a Roman Catholic priest. He's on staff at the Doctrine of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. All right, this is a very important division of the Vatican that says this is what true teachings are. And he comes out of the closet in interviews and says that he's a gay priest. Boom. He's fired the same day. Boom. He's told by his bishop that he may not wear his clerics, and he is suspended from saying Mass publicly. He may not wear his clerical garbs, his clerical clothing. So he does an interview from Spain where he's living with his boyfriend and says, I'm an openly gay priest, and I've been fighting against homophobia in my church for years, and blah, blah, blah. One of the reasons that I have found the Catholic Church attractive is that as much as there's so much corruption right now with Dolan in New York City and Whirl in Washington, D.C., I get crazy when I think about it. But on issues of doctrine, they've held the line. Child killing, abortion, as we call it, is murder. And you could have watched one denomination after another in America, Protestant denominations, that collapsed and have gone from being hardcore pro-life to pro-choice. The Methodist Church, their official position. I mean, this is crazy. So when I see some poor lost soul like this priest say he's an openly gay priest, the Catholic Church comes in and goes, boom, no, you're really not. You are now fired from the Vatican. You are stripped of your right to say Mass publicly. Stop wearing all your priestly garbs, and we'll pray for you. So he's now he's a total renegade. Which brings us to what's going on in Rome. There are a lot of people that are very concerned about this meeting that's happening with the bishops right now. Very concerned. And they should be. Because what this guy did, what this young priest did with his behavior, is what some bishops are trying to do from Europe, where they're corrupt, theologically corrupt, where they're trying to undermine and make wiggle room and send a message and say words that are absolutely contrary to the teachings of the Catholic Church. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, because it could be a dark, ugly, open brawl. I'm going to take a quick break and talk about another dark, open, ugly brawl, and that is the faith of Europe. I can't believe I can't remember his name. He's he's a deceased, prolific Catholic author. But he said, Europe is the faith. Europe is the faith. And he said, look, if Christianity ever gets obliterated from Europe, then we're doomed, and we will be doomed at the hand of Islam. Well, what's going on right now with these refugees pouring over the border, over the Mediterranean rather, and flooding Europe, it's got some people absolutely terrified. Because while the Christian faith is attacked from within by errant priests like this, or by renegade evangelicals who want to determine what is right and wrong in ways that are outside of God's word, you've got the attack from without, from the Islamic world, as they pour into the heart of Europe. And believe me, they have a goal in mind for the church. And it's not that the church survives. Friend, this TV show represents a mission. It's to be a voice of resistance to the evil in the land, but also to inspire people like you to take a stand at any level that you might be able to equip you, to inspire you, to challenge you, to give you the rhetorical ammunition that you need. But we still have to pay bills. This program, as you know if you're a regular viewer, we don't spend a lot of time raising money. We don't spend a lot of time saying, oh, you need to buy this and we're gonna run. No, we're bringing you a message, but we still have bills that we need to pay. I'm asking you, if you have been blessed by this show, to please go to our website or send a check to the address you see on the screen or call the phone number that you see on the screen and use your credit card and to give $50 or $100 or $500 just to help us meet our normal expenses. And we'll keep bringing you this hard-hitting show. Know thy enemy. If you're ignorant of your enemy, it doesn't help you, and it may assure victory for your enemy. We've been watching a flood of refugees come over our southern border, and it's become a political hot button, as it should, because an open border means that you don't even control your own country. But what we've got going on right now is nothing compared to what is happening in Europe. Last month, 218,000 refugees crossed the Mediterranean and landed in Europe, and they're dispersing. And Merkel, the head of Germany, has basically done what Obama has done. But she's not doing it for Roman Catholic Hispanics. She's doing it for Muslims who are bent on subverting Christianity, bent on eliminating the liberties of the European Union, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association. And there's one horror story after another of what is going on, and people in power looking the other way. Now, please hear me. Here's one of those $3 words. Xenophobia. Xenophobia. It's the fear of things that are different. And usually, when people talk about xenophobia, they say it as a slight. It's a pejorative. It's he's xenophobic. He's just a white guy who's afraid of black people. He's just a white guy afraid of Hispanics. He's xenophobic. It means that you're shallow and uncaring, bigoted. Well, here's something that we need to grasp. It is not xenophobic to be afraid of someone who wants to kill you. I'm not used to being killed. That's really different to me. Well, you should be afraid if someone wants to destroy you. And I use this program to discuss a lot the loss of Istanbul. It used to be called Constantinople. It was the seat of Byzantium. It's gone. All right? The heart and soul, the jewel of the East, Byzantium, it's gone. Overrun by Islam. And for most people, when I talk about it, guess what that is? It's a yawn. It's a yawn. But if 20 years from now we talk about the loss of Germany, or we talk about the loss of France, it won't be a yawn. Because when people like me are saying that Islam, historic Orthodox Islam, as practiced by, say, the Muslim Brotherhood, who was welcomed recently in the White House by President Obama, historic Orthodox Islam is a threat, an existential threat to you and I. When I say stuff like that, some people will go, well, what are you basing that on? Well, look at what happened to Byzantium. Yawn. That was hundreds and hundreds of years ago. All right, now I don't have to say that. Now I just have to say, look what's happening in France. Look what's happening in Spain, where Muslim refugees all but destroyed a church. Look what's happening in Germany. Look at the no-go zones where Muslims are literally taking over areas and telling non-Muslims, don't you dare even come in this area. If you want to see the danger that we face in America just a few years down the road, look at what's happening in Europe right now and know thy enemy.